So every time people ask me where I study, I have to explain what it is and how it works. And at the moment they hear it is an online university, I had the same reaction, which is on the line of, oh, so it's not a real university. And I kind of understand where they're coming from, with everyone thinking that it was the same as watching YouTube videos and then calling myself a professional. But luckily, with this pandemic and everyone forced to study online, I have got better reactions in general. But there are still some people that don't seem to understand how it actually works and why it actually works. And that's sad. Most of these people have this reaction because a lot of the schools and universities were not prepared to go online when this happened. And because of that, they kind of did it wrong by just moving the entire class to a Zoom virtual classroom. And don't get me wrong, I know that that was the best they could do in a situation like that with no previous preparation. But there has to be a better way to improve it. But what is wrong about this and how they can make it even better? Let me explain. Up until 2019, the way education worked was pretty simple. Just put a bunch of students in a classroom, assign them a teacher or professor, and then let them communicate their knowledge to the new generation. Then evaluate with some kind of standardized test and let them advance to the next level or make them repeat it. And the same method is applied in every stage of formal education, whether you are in elementary school, high school, college, or university. But here's the thing, tests are pretty much useless. What do I mean by that? Well, what's the purpose of a test? To tell you how much you know about what you are being taught, and once you take a test and realize you know 80% of the subject, then what do you do with that information? Nothing. No one tries to identify what's that 20% of knowledge you are missing. You just go to the next level with that gap in you. Tests, the way we use them, are useless. And this is not the way we teach other things. When you are learning martial arts, you have to demonstrate that you know everything before you go to the next level. The same is in music. Even in some cooking school, they don't let you start with the salmon if you haven't learned how to wash the rice first. And the main problem with this system is really well explained by Sal Khan, the guy that founded Khan Academy. And you can go watch his TED Talk, link in the description, but this is the main idea.
And to appreciate how absurd that is, imagine if we did other things in our life that way. Say home building. So we bring in the contractor, say, told we have 2 weeks to build a foundation, do what you can. So they do what they can. Maybe it rains, maybe some of the supplies don't show up, and 2 weeks later the inspector comes, looks around, says, okay, the concrete's still wet right over there, that part's not quite up to code, I'll give it an 80%. Say, great, that's a C, let's build the first floor. Same thing. We have 2 weeks, do what you can, inspector shows up in 2 weeks, it's a 75%. Great, that's a D+. Second floor, third floor, and all of a sudden while you're building the third floor, that whole structure collapses. And if your reaction to that is the reaction that you typically have in education, or that a lot of folks have in education, you might say, maybe we had a bad contractor, or maybe we needed better inspection or more frequent inspection. But what was really broken was the process.
So how do we fix this? Is it realistic? Is it practical? Here's the thing, I don't think that is realistic and certainly is not practical for now to teach everyone the way we teach martial arts. Just letting every student from different ages advance at different speeds in the same classroom because it cannot scale easily. And that will be only a system for expensive schools that can afford more teachers for fewer students. So how do we do it? I have an idea and it's not really original. Remember when I said that people thought that attending to an online university was not the same as attending to a real university? Did you think that too? Let me be honest, most people learn things on the internet, whether it's using YouTube videos, tutorial in blogs, the WikiHow, reading books, and there are a lot of jobs that don't need a degree for you to get hired. You could learn how to code using YouTube videos and a lot of practice and then get hired by Microsoft. You can prove you know what you're doing. So online education actually works. And here are a couple of things that people tend to forget. Distant education, it's not new. We have that distant education as early as 1728 by a correspondence. And the other thing is that distance education, and in turn online education, it could be considered a form of self-learning. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're learning something using YouTube videos, how do you do it? You look for a video about a subject, usually some kind of tutorial, and then follow the instructions. If that video is particularly complicated, you look for another one. Maybe you need a series of videos, or maybe you just need a single video explaining everything really fast. Now imagine that there is someone that can point you in the right direction, like a professional in the thing you're trying to learn, that can tell you what video is good for you to start with and later check if you have all the necessary knowledge to say that you've learned properly the subject in question. That's what I'm envisioning. You log into your class and your teacher gives you resources for you to look up, like videos, ebooks, tutorials, etc. And then if you think that that's not enough, you have an idea of what you need to look for now and find the right fit for you. Maybe you don't need a YouTube video and prefer an audiobook, or maybe you prefer to read about it in a blog from some expert on the matter. And by the next week, you will be probably more prepared to show your advance to your teacher than with the old system. And this is, in my opinion, how things should be working right now with schools. Not with the teachers simply moving their classroom to a virtual space and keep using the old system. Yes, for now there are going to be things that you absolutely need to do in practice in front of your professor. But with new technologies, who knows if in the future you could become a doctor from your home. The thing is that, as of right now, with the system we have, using a teacher to just pour information to the heads of the students, it's not enough. Because it's impossible for a teacher to be more up to date with everything than a student. And you know what? My idea is not for a perfect education system. I don't think that exists. Every new generation will be different and the system will have to adapt again. But for now, I think this is what we need. Teachers that won't be spending their time giving you all the knowledge, but guiding you and helping you to discover this knowledge the way it's best for you. Testing you to help you find the gaps in your knowledge and then help you fill them easily now that you know how to do it on your own. And this is kind of the system that the University of the People uses, giving you the resources to learn from, but not limiting you to those so you can look for your own, making you do assignments that require for you to do research on the topic and being evaluated by your peers and making you evaluating them so you can learn from each other, pointing you in the right direction so you can discover the knowledge. And at the end, once you graduate, you'll be on your own anyway. Tell me, what do you prefer? Watch a lecture from someone that's giving you information that you could have found on the web on your own? Take notes and then memorize the important parts for the test? Or researching on your own with their guidance and then ask questions about the things you didn't understand completely and have debates with your classmates? I even think that the instructors, at least the good ones, will prefer to have a chat with their student on a more educated level, and then they'll have more time to stay up to date on the subject and will have a better sense of accomplishment having these conversations with them as well. At least that's what I think. And that's what I like about the University of the People. What are your thoughts? Am I crazy? Or do you also think that this is the direction education will move? Tell me in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.